everybody. Welcome back to another Imizizi Conversations. I am Mponeng, Managing Director and co-founder of Imizizi, and my lunchtime date is Karabo Moloko, CEO of Andish Institute.
Absolutely. Hello. I'm
still introducing you.
Oh my.
Which is a digital strategy execution platform, but I would love her to remind the people who you are, please.
Yeah. Oh yes, formalities. So that's correct. Kidna Karabo run a strategy execution consultancy, which is absolutely fun, of course. Really focusing on digital and focusing on change. From an Unleashed perspective, we've seen that, COVID is showing us that ideas are great, but strategy has to be agile, strategy has to be executed, and the continuous progressive learning, and also then preparing your organization, preparing your processes, your business to adapt. It's not some beautiful PowerPoint presentation. There's a significant change element that starts with the individuals, with the leadership, and then trickles down to your products and your processes.
And it's so important because people don't think about the products and processes. They kind of differentiate it
absolutely
from what the strategy of the company is about.
It's quite odd, and I can own it as a consultancy firm that we must blame the consultants. There's been a practice in our profession where we've come in and do this whole benchmarking research, and we leave people with amazing PowerPoint decks. And this is where, for us, we've seen the strategy execution capability necessary. And it's as simple as, what is our roadmap? Which piece are we taking on first? What's the impact that has on our people, on our processes, on our technology, yes, and our products, and on our customers? And typically you would hope as an organization that you should be able to do that yourself, but the truth is businesses are busy being businesses.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's value in just bringing someone that will walk alongside of you and assist and bring the capacity to translate it.
The support as well is so important.
Exactly. And that's what we do. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Today we are discussing how COVID has impacted women in the workplace and what it all means for the future. I see this as one of those epidemics within a pandemic.
Yes.
And it's a double-edged sword that we're not even realizing about it yet.
Oh yeah.
I read an article, I want to quote because I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
So this was from the UN policy brief, how COVID has impacted women. Across the globe, women earn less, save less, hold less secure jobs, are more likely to be employed in the informal sector. They have less access to social protection and are the majority of single-parent households. Their capacity to absorb economic shocks is therefore less than that of men.
Geesh, my word, we should just get the UN to just be. Wow, in one succinct sentence, they've summed up our reality, and I don't think we own it enough. And I mean, just starting with the nutshell, the end point of that statement. First and foremost, women have a far less capacity to absorb shocks. Yeah. And capacity is mental, emotional, physical, financial, social, right? And across all LSMs. So let's be very clear. We are talking about that woman, executive CEO of some multinational, right down to Aussie, that's a domestic worker. Across the board, by the construct, and I love it because they're going to the actual construct, our capacity to absorb shock. And I would say, I mean, if we were to sit and analyze and be honest and have a strong glass of something, okay, lunch, okay, maybe not a strong glass, we could begin to map out as women just which of those dimensions are impacting us most: mental, emotional, physical, social, financial. because there's one of those dimensions. Without a doubt, I believe every woman is struggling right now because the margin was always too thin.
Yeah. And actually, I feel like the UN, for instance, have done such a great job in trying to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
Especially financially.
Yeah.
But now COVID has kind of took
man.
that all the way back. And now we need to start all over from scratch now. And it's like, how do we even, where do we even start?
Spot on. I think let's own it. Let's own it, everyone. We're back to square one.
We're back to square one.
For some people, that's exciting news. Because a reboot on some level is probably what we needed. And being at home.
And maybe the awareness.
The awareness.
Most people didn't even realize, because so many women were being put in positions.
Spot on.
But did you know that women get paid 81 cents to every dollar that a man gets paid? And this is all things fair.
Wow.
You know, all things equal.
Wow.
I didn't have a baby. I have been working. I've been doing late nights.
Wow.
So now we are basically...
Already.
Yeah. We need to find a way to say a role is not about the person, but by the job. So prices by the job. How do we even, where do we even begin?
Oh man, I mean, it's quite sad that in the year 2020, we are still talking about the salary parity issues between genders, and they're real. And in my world, I think we've got to attack it from both sides. Today, we still don't negotiate aggressively for the right salary. And you and I know full well, there's no such a thing, ladies that are listening, and guys too, there's no such a thing that once you are in there, the salary, you will finally find yourself to the right salary level that you should be earning. Once you're on the inside, that stuff doesn't exist.
No.
There is one door, and that is when you enter.
And if you didn't negotiate,
if you did not negotiate at the door, just forget it. And you know, and a small dynamic, it's probably not at the core, but it is a dynamic, that our ability to handle rejection is very low. So I'm afraid of saying, no guys, for me it's 2 million. How much do you want? 2 million. Well, we'll say, no, you know what, I'm open, I'm negotiable, you put down a price. That's absolute nonsense. Because I know if I say a salary package of 2 million, I'm afraid of how they'll react. If I'm good enough and if they want me, they'll get into a conversation. And so I'm nervous that even though we'll finally come to a number, once I'm in there, they're going to be like, that girl, that one, she was the one that wanted that package, right? Because for us, we associated with who we are. And guys are, and they probably struggle with it maybe, but I'm always impressed with men that it's water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
Someone said no. Oh, okay, then let's find another price. Trickle off.
The biggest problem is that it's taken us so long to even get some of these positions that now when you've got an interview for this position and they said, here, you're just asking for more, which is also on us more than anything, I guess.
Absolutely. I definitely there's that, and I think it's real. We must own that there is a level of desperation, hope. Can I get promoted? Can I get to that level? The only thing though that I still notice, that even as we rise up, or even if we're not desperate for that job, we still don't negotiate. So I still put it on, there's something about how we view ourselves, what we believe of ourselves, and the kind of faces and labels we attach to ourselves. And there's just certain things that we must not pick up as we go along. You said no. You said, I'm being greedy. You said, don't take it with you. We've got to learn that. You let it go. We've got to learn that.
Let it go.
And then, of course, there is just the structural, systemic issues. That there is a perception that we don't add the same value. Therefore, already the negotiation begins lower. And that's very problematic. And for me, I find it very fascinating when we having a few more female managers coming in. We have HR practitioners that are primarily women, and we don't stand up for justice because in some of those cases, we need the system to defend you. We need the system to stand up for you. So as a hiring manager, you should already, and I've had this many cases where as a hiring manager, I've been told that here's the person. So typically in the organizations I've worked for, HR would bring a proposal, and they've brought a proposal and they've said, here's what they used to earn, here's 10% of it. Bearing in mind, we already know somewhere in a woman's journey they were undercut. So if I'm just adding 10% to their offer, I am perpetuating the madness. And then many times I've said, okay, that's a great offer, but other team members that are doing the same, what do they earn? Well, they're earning 20, 30% more. I said, give them 30%.
Yes.
And with HR, I've gotten into a debate to say, no, but that's too much. How is it too much? I'm hiring them to do the exact same thing. So we need advocates in the system that will correct.
And I've never thought about it, but you're right. Like, our HR is mainly female dominated.
Oh, God.
How are we not then sitting with the people and be like, what we are doing is actually not fair?
Absolutely.
How do we restructure? How do we rework to be more inclusive in the? And I was going to touch on the perception thing later. Wuti, is the perception that we work less because of the fact that if you've got a kid, you've got a husband, it's kind of related to your working environment versus a guy who has the same things, but those things are not correlated to how they're going to be performing at work.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so. And I'm being subjective in my experience. In my experience, I've seen women work even harder, work even longer, and perhaps, those are the type of women that I've brought into my teams, or I find myself in their teams. But I found, especially professional women today, are giving up so much. There's been moments where I've said, Mama, you've had to take your child to the doctor. Don't connect. Don't do any work. I don't want to see you online, because we take the kid to the doctor and then we're online and then we're making up for from working from home and. So if the perception exists, I think it's completely baseless. I do think, though, there is a gender bias perception, not a work ethic perception.
Okay.
There generally is a bias, and unfortunately we still live in a patriarchal society. That's partly why we're seeing the social issues. That still says women are less. And I can tell you from my executive experience, again, we're talking about slithers of it. This is by no means any generalization. I've sat in different environments, and I found it so funny that I'm in a boardroom with amazing men, but I always laugh to myself that they're the woman that they know are there in terms of that interaction are their wives who are housewives. And here is this one woman that doesn't make tea.
No.
and half of their bias and want to and view of my fragility.
Yes.
And by the way, I believe in chivalry. I believe in all those things. But view of my fragility is based on their perception that it's a woman and this. No,
it's not the same.
No.
And maybe that's why in their mind they're thinking, we're doing you a favor.
Oh, absolutely.
Because now we're saying you don't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
But generally, we do.
Oh, no, my gosh. Another woman, I've had to push women to stop. I think there's a messaging and a conversation for me, and it's true even in this lockdown world where women are working from home. And I'm sure you're aware of the performance dynamics that exist now, where we're all working from home and we've got to impress, that working more is not going to earn you more money, is not going to earn you a seat at the table. Trust me, I've tried it, and many other women have tried it. It doesn't work. It's not that you've got to put in more. That's why I'm saying I don't believe the perception is because we're slacking. Because if that was true, we would work more and harder and we would see the returns. So don't even do it, sister girl. Don't kill yourself because we now remote to prove a point that by doing more, it's a futile exercises, and many of us can tell you the story.
Yeah.
You're going to have to, your voice and has to be heard around fighting for what you deserve. And it's going to start with us. We have the issue.
We have the issue.
We have the issue.
We can't push it on to someone. We can't pass it on to someone
We
else.
must
and
own
expect
it.
them to understand as well.
We have to own it. We have to own it. And I'm seeing it from a business perspective where we having discussion about fees. And I'm being neutral. I'm saying let's talk about it. And they've said, okay, tell us the number.
Okay.
And I'm saying, look, like already, ladies, problem number one, you've right there by that act of me saying, okay, but let's just negotiate.
Let's talk about it.
I've already dropped the fee by 10, 20, 30% versus go in with a number.
So one of the things we then have to do is actually get away from the mentality of I prove myself by working hard.
Spot on.
So we need to say, okay,
spot on.
Unfortunately, our male counterparts have been doing this for a while. So check, what are they doing that you can then incorporate in your way of doing? Like stuff like someone will say something in a meeting that makes absolutely no sense, but they will stand by it. They will stand
like,
so much so that you're like, maybe I didn't,
like,
maybe they're right.
Maybe it's me.
It's so convenient because they believe it. And they believe they're right, but we are always so willing to be like, okay, I can negotiate.
Yes.
I can see where I am trying to, I can take this on the shoulder, on the chin type of thing.
Absolutely.
It's one of the things I used to do a lot, to be like, okay, I'm not going to come out straight and be like, you are wrong.
Yes.
Let me hear what you have to say about me. Let me assess where I have been wrong.
Absolutely.
And be like, okay, no. I'll discard the 70% where you're wrong, because 30%
God.
you're right, I am wrong with the 30%. We need to move away from that as part of going forward. It's like we need. It's our fight to fight.
Me, I blame our mothers. And I'm not politically correct, so all your people can you fix it afterwards? Is that okay?
It's live.
Me, I blame our mothers. You and I were nursed from the breast of superwoman complex milk. And I can believe that they needed to have the superwoman complex, because Gogo, when Omkulu had come to Joburg to do work, they had to be superwoman. And then our mothers then were the generation where they lived together, and these men were trying to figure out what being in a unit was, and then they had to do the superwoman complex. And so we move into a slightly different society where women have got more options, opportunities, and a voice, and we still carry the superwoman complex. What's a superwoman complex? The superwoman complex says, I have the ability to adapt. You are too fragile or too soft to adapt, so I will bend and contour myself in ways that don't make sense to adapt to you, because the 70% you cannot flex on the 70.
No.
So I will break my back.
I will do it.
And we think it's honorable, but it's like it's humility. It's absolute nonsense. It's a superwoman complex, because we actually think we are stronger, which is a big fat old lie. And it's bad for dynamics, whether it's dynamics in the home or even worse, dynamics in the workplace. So today, as women are faced with, professional women are faced with this new added burden of teaching, homeschooling, they're calling it. There's no such a thing. Teaching, educators, being educators, being cooks and cleaning, because a lot of people that typically would have help with for Aussie and domestic workers, lots of them were not with us during the lockdown. Now are even saying at work, I will bend, I will control, I will take on more work, right? Because you cannot bend, right?
You actually refuse to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You actually just like, I have work.
Yes.
Because I was gonna ask you, Uri, there's the working mummies, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think the dynamic there is with the working mummy versus a working dad?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're both now at home.
Absolutely.
And now we're both technically supposed to be homeschooling.
Yes.
Homeschooling, there's cleaning because no nanny.
Absolutely.
Because there's expectation.
Yeah.
Which if I'm going to play devil's advocate, is it an expectation from your partner, from your work, or is it an expectation we've imposed on ourselves?
Very, very
Which
good.
will probably then go back to your superwoman complex.
Yes. Very, very good. I think it's both, but it begins with an expectation we put on ourselves. Because as long as I have the expectation on myself to be a certain way, I don't create the platform to renegotiate the power dynamics in the home. Or the power dynamics for the workplace. So most of us, and it's a pity that this lockdown just rocked out, but sisters, let it be a reflection. Most of us have never negotiated the power dynamics in the home.
No.
That would have made entering into a lockdown and then having to adjust as a unit easier. Needless to say, we're now here. So we first need to deconstruct the expectation, what we're saying earlier, and the need for us to be superwoman, to have the perfectly clean home, to have kids eat perfect meals, and to have them learn to count perfectly and speak perfectly in an abnormal situation. So already the bar is high, and most daddies aren't going to rise to that bar. What I love about daddies, they can just adjust and be like, what's it? These are tough times. You know what? This kid will do a little bit more YouTube than usual. And we'll catch up next year. Hello, somebody. Right? Because they're not carrying your superwoman complex. So already the negotiations is difficult because we believe we have to be the ones that are doing it. Two, we're coming with a standard that cannot be met.
No.
And now we're saying, okay, Mutwaka, let's, come rise up to this level because it must be done.
We've never actually discussed this.
That's our problem.
Which is the same thing at the workplace. Huri, you finally find yourself and you're like, hey, actually, you guys learn rope. But now you go and your manager's like, hey, this is, when you enter that door, this is not the agreement that we had.
And we had a beautiful thing that was working. So why are you being different? Right?
Yes.
So there is a place, and even if we got it wrong the first time, we have an opportunity for the next job we move to as one avenue, but we have an opportunity to bring it into our reality now. If you never negotiated these dynamics before, it's gonna be painful, but you're gonna have to renegotiate the power dynamics because you didn't do it right. Now we're gonna pull an arm off.
Yes.
But the arm must be pulled off because if not, you are the casualty.
With the casualty thing, it's actually quite heartbreaking because about 80% of people, females, 80% of people in the healthcare industry are females.
Frontline workers.
Frontline,
absolutely.
Right? So now most of those females are at risk. And then on the other hand,
absolutely.
Majority, like a high percentage of people being let go in service-orientated businesses are women.
Spot on.
So we hence the double-edged sword, Huri.
Absolutely.
You are either going to be impacted with the virus,
Absolutely.
the advice is going to impact you negatively.
Absolutely.
As a female.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's very good categorization. So if you were to say, how has this pandemic impacted women? In my mind, the three categories. The first one is exactly what you're talking about. Frontline workers, predominantly women, have the highest risk of exposure. It's even worse when they're more tired because they've got to come home, manage the household. Now they've got to come into work, working long shifts, and being careful and cautious is more difficult when you're tired. So women are fundamentally exposed because we're frontline workers. The second one is exactly what you alluded to, which we have those vulnerable jobs. So we're looking at your spas, the industries that were last to open or still reopening, your hotel industries, in the hospitality field, domestic workers, all those positions, or even restaurants that were predominantly women, where your low income, most vulnerable workers again are women. But let's not forget the professional woman. I add that as a third category, where we are these execs, managers, supervisors, the works. Why I add that category is because while we've been able to continue to work, it's almost like a bit of a curse that we have been able to work from home.
Yeah.
Full-time work. You start in the morning, you finish in the evening. The only difference is at the same time, I've got to homeschool. I've got to, I've got to cook, clean. So as a professional worker, as a manager, my ability to deliver has been fundamentally impaired and compromised. And you know how promotions work, right? Yes. Who rescued the day? Who ran a charge, that project that got us out, that helped our business pivot, that helped us, survive and preserve income. Unfortunately, as a woman, my ability to deliver on these critical projects now, career-defining projects, because anything that's happening right now, if you do it superbly and be strategic in saving your organization and pivot, you're going to be up for the next promotion. Now, which woman has that capacity right now?
Because that meeting, K5, I'm busy with supper. There's a Zoom class for like kickboxing or whatever they are doing.
Battle.
Extra. But like in that meeting, so I'm hardly focused.
I cannot be present. If I can, I'm not focused. Here is an opportunity. In the time of crisis is the best time to show what you can do. And women are disproportionately able to do that, professional women, because our capacity to absorb, adapt, and be present is low.
Yeah.
Three categories where women are, this pandemic is hitting us a little bit harder. And as you said earlier, it brings us back to square zero, whether it's from savings or even in terms of adding to our brand bank for the next promotion.
What do we do? Because besides reinventing ourselves, having our voice,
yes,
and actually standing up for our rights,
yes,
because not unfortunately, I think fortunately this is the time when we realize that everything is new.
Yeah.
Everything is we basically the whole life is like started from scratch.
Carpet over. Here's a new carpet. How does that one feel?
Everything is new, so it could also be an opportunity for women to be like, okay, guys,
yes,
this is how life is working.
Absolutely.
How do we change it up?
I think for me, my first cry and call is for women in leadership, because if anyone can empathize with the plight of a woman right now, it is another woman. So a woman in leadership, as in management, executive positions, as well as HR practitioners and all of that, I think we need women to just shine the light on the disparities in terms of our ability to deliver that this pandemic has given, to create a little bit more grace and flexibility in what is required, and I know companies are really struggling and in a very tight place. But even in conversations where brand is being defined and created, you know, that management conversation. Hey, Mara, so Sipo was so impressive. Hey, Mara, it's Itandi. Those conversations, because by the way, our work is about creating brand. We promote on brand. We bonus on brand, right?
I wanted to touch on that brand thing. Okay, you continue.
So we need leaders to be cognizant, and for me, by the way, it's not just female leaders; it's our male counterparts to be cognizant of the disparities, and to not hold this moment against us, but to show humanity and grace. Because I'm not slacking.
No.
I'm trying to keep things together.
I'm trying to balance,
right? And so that's the first thing for me. We just need leaders to come on board in this moment. For me, secondly, it's just 2 women. It is what it is. It's unfair. It is. Don't kill yourself over it. I'm sorry, if you're not being able to show up for some very important meeting, means it will cost you your promotion, go. I believe in whether you call it karma or whatever it is, I believe in life being fair. And maybe it might not come around this time, but it will come around later.
Yes.
But the last thing we cannot have to our woman, a professional woman, is you killing yourself over this thing. Right now, we need you to survive and be healthy. We need your kids to survive and your family to survive and be healthy. So dial back if you must, slack if you must. You might miss this one, but we can always rebuild our brand again and reinvent ourselves. And then the third thing is, I think we need to learn, ladies, the over-reliance on a single job, a single income, is the one that forces us to make trade-offs that are not healthy for ourselves. So you don't have to think about it now, but when we come out of this crisis, you do need to start figuring out how you diversify your income, how you save better, how you do all those things that will empower you to say, you know what, boss, keep it. If you want to fire me. But I'm not going to die for this.
No. I actually have a quote that I have in my house. It says that you will have it when your heart is ready to carry it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, wow.
But
that's so deep.
It's so profound, because to your point that we try to do so much, we end up actually doing the opposite.
Yeah.
Because now I'm trying to, touch here and touch there.
Yeah.
I'm then no one sees value. My
Absolutely.
kids are like, Mama, you're always in a meeting. People are like, no, but you're always talking to
Absolutely. And I want to give women permission to just dial it back. It's really okay. Like, if you need to hear it from someone else, hear it. It's not you. You're not underperforming. You're not this. Here is permission to not have it all together, to not be superwoman right now, to not be top of your class right now. It's actually okay. There's a global pandemic, in case you didn't realize. People are dying. As kids, hello. We can send you the stats. It's not you. It's the rest of the world. Okay? So it's okay.
It's okay.
It's
It really
actually
is
okay. And you know what? If it's a matter of, because some people are in a place where they're contracting, it's really about hours. And if it's a matter of, you putting in more hours, more just to earn and survive, let hunger come then. Because there's no point in you killing yourself and your kids are left in that house you're trying to keep.
Yourself.
Right? If need be, gosh, we'll sell the house. We can always build again.
We can always build again. And it's that fear.
It's the
which
fear.
It's clearly the underpinning issue here.
Absolutely.
It's the fear to speak out. It's the fear to
Yes.
allow yourself to
Actually,
be who you are.
That's the thing.
It is the theme.
It's a fear that tomorrow we won't have enough. We won't.
Yes.
And women carry that fear. We carry it in our bodies. We carry it in our hearts, in our head. It makes us sick.
And we say it's worry. No, I'm just planning and I'm worrying, but it's fear.
It's fear right at the core. And it's ruling us, and it's unfortunately even making us perform even less. The thing we're chasing goes further away, and we are less able to get to the thing. And sometimes we have to let fear hit us in the face then. If it's about losing my house, then let the house be lost then.
Let the house be lost. And then what next?
Yeah, let's see fear what you then bring.
Yes, what next? And I think it's that it's like what are these things called?
Yeah.
A barrier.
Barrier.
So you're scared because the fear is a barrier, and you're scared to push against that barrier.
Absolutely.
You know, everything we know and all the big speakers say, Huri, past that fear.
On the other side.
On the other side.
It's a
but
fear
you
that
need to get past it.
No, exactly. It's a fear that if I don't sit and do this homeschooling with my kids, they're going to be left behind. Let them be left behind, and then let's catch up next year. You know, it's all those fears. It's a fear that if I don't bend one more time for my partner who's in the house, who's meant to help me with this thing, this very fragile relationship, marriage, or whatever it is going to break. Take it to the brink of fragility.
Only then will you actually be able to see what you have.
And see whether it exists or not. Because really, if it does break, then it was going to break anyway.
And even at work, if you go to a manager, you're like, I've done A, B, C, and D. I feel like I deserve
Absolutely.
this. And they're like, no, then you were never going to get there. And you're busy trying to work for that promotion that you were never going to get.
Mponeng, can I tell you? I've been sitting in these promotion discussions, high flyer discussions, the stuff that's in the back room. What you said is so spot on. Truly, if the nature of your relationship or how your company views you is so fragile that in this one moment you cannot step up, you are 100% right. You were never the one.
You were never the one.
We know who our high flyers are. We know the people that we value and see as gold in our companies. I can tell you this. We know this. Guys, I've been in these conversations for a while now. I've sat back and said, huh?
It's been like this.
You still think you at the I must still prove myself. No. We already know. We already have the list. We are just affirming what we are gathering evidence so that in case anyone ever asked us, we can back it up. We already have our guys, askis. So if it was so fragile that your boss could not have given you space and room in a global pandemic, you're better off that you now know. By the way, there's some people that are listening to us that the very thing that they need to do right now is go to their boss and say, boss, just Monday, Tuesday, I'm gonna be out. I'm not checking in. I'm not gonna log on. I'm not leave, whatever you want to call it. I'm not. I can't. I'm unavailable.
Yes.
You're asking what should we do?
Okay.
And what should we do? For most of us, it's at the most simple, practical level. The very thing that you need to do is that on Monday, you need to not do any work.
Just check out.
Check out completely. Don't even switch off the device, the phone if it needs. That's what you need. You need to get a good glass of grapes, some serious, beautiful music, and you need to, and even your kids, you say, Nana, is no school for you.
We are taking a break today.
We are like, zip, close it off, we're taking a break. Because this thing is hard.
It's hard.
This
It is
thing is
hard.
hard. Yesterday, last night, I was having conversations with my husband, and well, the only words I could master was, "This thing is hard." Like, it's so hard right now. Right now, it's so hard. It's like,
hard.
which piece? All of it?
Everything.
It's hard.
And
It's
we
hard.
need to take that break. We need to take the break. We need to get over our fears. And especially as women, we need to change the way we see ourselves.
Oh, man.
We so need to change that. That's the only way anyone else will be able to see us differently.
Absolutely. That's what I said earlier. I said, you cannot begin to negotiate someone else treating you differently or renegotiating the power dynamics or giving you what you deserve when you don't reconcile that with yourself.
Yes.
If I don't think I'm worth that 2 million, 3 million rand package,
Then
what
you can't
conversation am I going to have?
no.
If I don't believe that the power dynamics for our relationship in this home is that you must take care of the kids for the rest of the week on your own or between these hours, how can I begin to have that negotiation?
And humbleness has nothing to do with it, because I know most women will be like, no, but I mean, I don't want it to seem like, I'm coming out as. But you've done the work.
Come out as!
Come out as
Who else did you
whatever.
want to come out as? Hello, somebody.
you.
Do you come out
Come
as?
out as. Because at the end of the day, I'm at home.
Jeez.
When you are sitting by yourself at home looking at the numbers and
You're
you're
like,
not balancing,
Mara,
and you've
these
done
numbers.
the work.
And
You've
you've
done the work.
the work. And some people are going to say, Eish, Marawaiti King, they're busy doing layoffs. They can't renegotiate anything now. Put it out there now.
I know men who have quit
Yes.
because you did. I spoke to you, and you said at the end of this year, this is what I'm getting. If I'm not getting this, I am leaving.
I've spoke to women that where I've now come in as the new manager in that area, and they are quoting a conversation that happened 3 years ago. I was promised.
And you're justifying it
I was
still.
like, girl, you are still here 3 years ago. That old manager didn't do it year one. Didn't do it year two. While I want to correct the issues of the past, but come on, sister. And yes, maybe because of the job market right now, you cannot. And maybe all it is just putting notice to say, look, I really don't think this is fair. I've spoke about it. I've asked for readjustment. It is not happening. I'm just letting you know that I have to start considering my options. And we'll go through this. We'll continue with this. And I know it's a tough time for the business. It's a global pandemic, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying I'm going to have to reconsider my options, because honestly, it doesn't add up. The value that I believe I'm adding versus the salary that I'm getting, it honestly doesn't add up. I'm going to leave it to you. I want you to consider, let's see how we do it. But I'm there. You know you can exit now, but give notice. The question is it a threat? Yes, it's a threat.
I am threatening you.
I am threatening you.
Because I am actually, and it comes back to stuff like, again, teachers, nurses, mostly women, right? These are foundational services that
Correct.
we use in our
Essential
daily life.
services, absolutely.
But they're the least paid.
I know.
And it starts from those things. How, guys?
And we see it. So we talk about gender-based violence, specifically domestic violence, and it's part of the one narrative where and remember, and I want to be fair to everyone, that it is both. There's two sides of the coin. There's us and there's the systemic part, and we've got to deal with the systemic part. And right now we're talking about our role. It's really part where you are getting the short end of the straw from day one. You are, and I'm diverting a bit, but it's part of the one narrative. You know that this person treats you bad. You know that this person says, nah, I've got a real girlfriend there. You're just some side chick. I'll call you when I've got time. And you go so far in that relationship and in that thing that you've created you've allowed the construct that says you will take second best to exist. and it becomes the defining, it's the terms of the agreement. And it just becomes harder to break it later.
Yeah.
Same in the workplace,
Yeah.
same in social relationships, same with everything. We've got to fight both sides of the coin.
We do.
And we've got to learn to own our stuff. And for me, it just owns it with recognizing it and just verbalizing it and saying, this is not working for me. This is not working. You know what? I'm trying, my dear boss, I'm trying, but this is actually not working. This moment, this time, the stuff I've got to do at home, the what is being asked for, it's actually not working. And we might not have a solution to solve it, but I'm letting you know. I'm putting you on notice that this is not working.
That communication.
Start there.
And we must get away from the nagging bit.
Yes.
You know, we as females are nagging.
Oh,
I'm
Lord have mercy.
communicating with you.
Yes.
About what I want
Yes,
done. You
exactly.
know? I mean, I watched something a while back. I think it was like a year ago. It's funny. And I watched it with my daughter. Why women get paid differently across the world and whatever. And they did like a like-to-like comparison. They're like, okay, lawyer, get out of varsity, you get into a job, same
Wow.
thing. And then the woman, so they showed two sides. And then there's like, the woman will go out, have a baby, stay at home.
Step
So
out.
for those 4 months, whatever, she's not at it. But the guy realistically is climbing the corporate ladder.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
realistically, he's doing his
Absolutely.
due. The woman is at home, la 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 la. So when she comes back, she can never hope to match up to that guy,
Yeah.
which is fair. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's a fair point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But now, like to like,
That's exactly.
like to like, I never left.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been here attending the same meetings. I still get paid less.
absolutely.
So some of the countries, what I liked is that, like Iceland, I think it's Iceland.
Yeah.
I stand
Sounds
corrected.
like a
They
Scandinavian
have
thing to
like
do.
a 6-month paternity leave.
Yes, I know.
So now they've handed over the responsibility to the males
Spot
to be
on.
like,
You-
okay,
yeah.
you can go.
Absolutely.
She can go.
Absolutely.
She can go for 6 months. You can go for 6 months.
Absolutely.
You come back and so it does start you right with leadership.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
can't
This is
be,
yeah, absolutely.
but the communication.
Communication.
Someone needs to say it, and then someone
tell
needs
you.
to action it from top
Absolutely. I mean, one of the communication things, and I learned this from an amazing male in the mining environment, and this fundamentally changed my career and started giving me the trajectory that I needed as I was working hard. One of the things he taught me was that you've got to sell back the value you create. So a lot of us do an amazing project, and I find this more with women, where you do a project and you deliver it. And we have this theory that my work must speak for itself. I can tell you as a manager, as an executive, keep easy. There's like hundreds of you that I'm looking after. I'm more relieved that I didn't have to come and intervene. But that you did it and it was great. Honestly, it's not front in mind because I've got my own issues and then I've got my boss's issues. So you are really I'm not preoccupied with you. So one of the things this exec taught me was that once you've delivered something, it doesn't matter how small it is, you've got to remind them that, by the way, this is what I did, and this is the value that I've created for this organization. Wow. By the way, keep it. And so what happens is you come front in mind of your boss. So the next problem, so the brand, and you said we must come back to that. So the brand memory, the first draw card of your brand is you solve problems, you get things done. And the more of that you keep creating, yes, with no intervention. So we often think that if I get it on with it and I'm silent, you will know. No. A manager's in a crisis. It's craziness. So what you want to do is you want to add to your brand bank. And people are saying, but they've seen people that are always saying, Naki and saying, I'm doing all these things, but they're not doing it. No, you are different because you are doing it. So you're not, you adding truth to the brand bank, but you've got to add to the brand bank. And so we tried this. I did
like the brand bang.
I did a small insignificant work. And this person said, hey, we've got this big meeting with, the CEO and chairman and all these beautiful people. And in this meeting, he said, he gave me like 10 minutes. And in the 10 minutes, I just went and said, this was the exercise. Simple. I thought this was so bad because all these other people are coming and talking about these big things, right? And here I am, I'm going to talk about such a small thing. But nonetheless, I took the 10 minutes and I said, hey guys, this is what I did and this is what I've done for you. And at the time, I was a contractor for this organization. Let me actually tell the story. So this they had a vacancy and I'd come in to do the work, so I was contracting. They then said, look, we have a vacancy, why don't you apply? So I said, sure, and I went into the program, I didn't apply, but we wanted you to come in, let's have a salary conversation.
Yeah.
And then they put a number, you know how we go, I said, okay, no, you make the offer. They put a number and I said, shoot guys, I said, the number you put shows we are way off. We are in different worlds. There's no point negotiating because your number is so low, it's not off. Then the HR practitioner said, okay, fine, there's nothing we can do. I continued delivering the work. Then this guy said, come into this thing and I'm giving you 10 minutes. Who became a mentor. In that 10 minutes, small, insignificant, silly thing, I then said, hey guys, this is what I did. I rationalized your architectural landscape, blah, 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 da, 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 da. The CEO happened to be a CEO, CFO, chairman happened to be there. Big workshop with big capital projects. I did my thing, I left. Then afterwards, the CFO came and said, oh, I heard they offered you a job and you turned it down. And as I was about to respond, I then said, yeah, he said, that's absolute nonsense. I want you to report to work on Monday. And I said, but he said, okay, the HR director will come and meet you. Yeah. Okay, then Monday I go into the meeting with the HR director. The HR director said, as you heard, the CEO was thoroughly impressed with what you did. Simple, easy. I mean, that thing was dumb. I even felt the work was dumb. So look, we're not going to get into a big debate. How much do you want? I'd already over the job, so I put a random number. And then he said, okay, wait, I'll be back in a few minutes. He left. Took about 15 minutes, came back, there was an offer. Sign now. And then I thought, can I rework the number? The only reason we got there, I was doing the work. I'd been doing the work, but this one guy taught me. His name is Tim Lotz. Tim, if you're listening you're following the right page, right? He then said to me, he taught me, you've got to sell back. From then on, managers
to be like, this is what I've
to
done.
say, yeah, 10 minutes. This is what me and my team and all my team will tell you. Get anyone that's ever worked under me. They will tell you that I always insisted that part of the presentation is they sell back the value they've created for client. After that, everyone always thought, geez, this girl is so great. No, I'm doing exactly everything everyone's doing. I'm just reminding you. They're my brand.
And to your point when you're saying that what you did to you seemed so stupid.
Yes.
Most of us, like I feel like that with most things. I'm just like, this is not even worth mentioning.
Exactly.
But then this is where what we're saying is that don't feel like that.
Absolutely.
Say those things.
Can I tell you who's really
everybody?
Can I tell you who's really good at this? And I'm sorry to profile. You'll fix it when I'm gone. Young white males are exceptional at this. I used to work in a merchant bank. And in the merchant bank, it was these young white males. I'm like, this guy knows diddly squat. Not all of them, some of them. They had not, but they were amazing at selling back. Oh, you know what? I spoke to this guy, and while I was speaking to him, I actually solved this and this. And I'm like, seriously, John? Like seriously? But what would happen? And the manager would not, but what would happen? The manager starts associating John with a problem solver. Come performance bonus time.
John is up.
Come promotion time.
And because now John is in everyone's lips.
John.
Because I'm going to meet you when we're having coffee. I'm like, you know, John said he did this. And then you're going to talk to someone else. And now come performance time, John is on there. And it's something
It's
that we
not
should
about
not be
doing
ashamed.
more. It's not about doing more,
It's
because
not about
I find
talking
women
about what you're doing.
are doing more. During COVID, I think women are doing too much. You've got to start selling back your value. That's some of the ways, so that when there's a performance discussion, that you are not there. And now we're having this discussion. Your name is on everyone's lips. And they would have to be completely unethical. They would have to be completely gender biased to not give you the promotion you deserve.
Yes.
Then it's between them and God, who will zap them.
Karabo, as usual, thank you so much for a lovely conversation. I hope that everybody got a lot out of this. I did. Branding, ladies, brand yourself. Do not be scared. Do not be scared. Do not be scared to say your truth. And yeah,
Absolutely.
push on. Because
Come
I
on.
mean, at the end of the day, it is on us.
Absolutely.
So we can't keep pushing it on to anybody else. So we need to start taking responsibility for the things that we need to do to change how we are seen in the workplace and stay in the workplace.
Absolutely.
Any last words?
Take Monday off.
Take Monday off. Grapes. books,
Grapes,
good
music, the works.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you, everybody who has joined, as usual. Hope to see you next time. Please also, if you could maybe put down some suggestions on topics you guys want us to discuss, we'd be happy to tackle what we can tackle, and hopefully give you guys some value. Thank you.